A very good day to you if you're watching or listening from abroad, and a very good evening to you if you're watching or listening from Kenya. This is the Black Hot Fire News Update. It's actually a Friday update where we're going to be looking at each and everything that was happening in Africa this week. It's been a week full of theatrics, a week full of a lot of things were happening in Africa this week, and we're going to be looking at those headline hitters, what was hitting the headline this week. I'll be here for the next 30 minutes, so stay with me. You can talk to me on all our social media platforms at the Black Hot Fire Network. That is on Instagram, on Twitter, and of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can also talk to me on the comments. So we're going to be looking at each and everything that was hitting the headlines in Africa, with news from Nigeria, Italian Prime Minister Giorgio Meloni visiting Tunisia to discuss migration, with so many migrants from Tunisia dying as they try to cross over to Italy and to Europe. So it is for that reason that Giorgia Meloni is in Tunisia to discuss migration. And of course, we're going to be looking at how President William Ruto and Burna Boy were the only Africans who made it, among the few Africans who made it to the Times 100 most influential people in the world, uh, the new Western poster boy. So you're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at the striking doctors in Kenya as they enter their fifth week of strike. We're going to be looking at Zimbabwe, which was having its celebrations, its independence celebration today, and it has freed a lot of prisoners, including some prisoners who had been sentenced to death. So they were freed because Zimbabwe was having its Independence Day and therefore decided to give them independence. We are going to be looking at Burkina Faso expelling 3 French diplomats over the week for what it called subversive activities. We're going to be looking at how floods are ravaging East Africa, killing 58 in Tanzania, killing 13 in Kenya, killing another 24 in Congo. So we're going to be looking at how floods are ravaging the whole of East Africa and how they have displaced thousands of people and what really went wrong. We're going to be looking at how Kenya is among several African countries that have withdrawn the batch of Benylin children's cough syrup. This is the second cough syrup that has been withdrawn in the market over the past 2 weeks. The first one that they withdrew was from was another batch from the same company, Johnson and Johnson. Looks like Johnson and Johnson is on a mission because Kenya now with Tanzania, Eswatini, Rwanda, and South Africa, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe have recalled a batch of Benylin pediatric. It's called the Benylin pediatric cough syrup. This is the second batch coming from the Johnson and Johnson company that was manufacturing these drugs in South Africa. Looks like it has some sinister. We're going to be looking at how China has revoked the win for He Jie. In case you don't know who He Jie is, it was the gentleman who was the runner who was allowed to win by the 3 corrupt African athletes, the 2 Kenyans and the Ethiopian. I'm gonna be resharing the video once again of how they allowed a Chinese runner to win. They allowed him, they slowed down to allow him to win. And so an investigation was launched into the same, and they have established that it was indeed match fixing, and for that reason, they have revoked his win. We're going to be looking at how BNB Paribas are facing a lawsuit over their alleged role in the Sudanese genocide. That was the genocide that was there from 1997 to 2011. So BNB Paribas has been named as one of the people who were responsible for the genocide. And lastly, we're going to be looking at Kenya and how it was confirmed yesterday that the Kenyan Chief of Defense, yesterday as I was reporting, it wasn't confirmed as yet, but it has now been confirmed that the Kenyan Chief of Defense, Kenya's top military man, the 4-star general, is dead. He died alongside 9 other top military officials also, and now it's up to the government to have a transition this is going to be a military transition because Kenya's military chief, General Francis Ogola, died yesterday in a helicopter crash. The government also declared 3 days of mourning, so we are going to be looking at that. And lastly, we are going to be looking at the G7 meeting that is happening and what African issues they have said they are going to be discussed as the foreign ministers of the G7 countries meet. So we're going to be looking at that and a lot of other things. So make sure to stay with me till the end of the session as we look at each and everything that was hitting the headlines in Africa. And let us start with Tunisia, where, as I said, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is in Tunisia for this reason. He's there to reinforce cooperation between the two countries on migration. Meloni said several initiatives to support Tunisia's economy were signed, especially focusing on energy and education sector. But the main reason was because we have had a lot of Tunisians die as they try to cross over, shipwrecks and a lot of other things. We actually had a whole boat full of dead people, a boat full of corpses being found in Mexico. And it was later established that all the corpses were from Africa. How they were killed is still being investigated. So this is Meloni's fourth visit to Tunisia, but the first one as a prime minister. Italy has been under discussion because it is one of the countries that African migrants target as they try to run away from Africa. And as I said, a lot of people have died trying to go Tunisians, to be specific, have died trying to cross over. Tunisians or those who use the Tunisian getaway. So that was why Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was there to discuss migration. In Burkina Faso, 3 French diplomats were expelled for what Burkina Faso termed as subversive activities. Burkina Faso's military government has expelled 3 French diplomats, accusing them of subversive activities. The diplomats, including 2 political advisors, were given 48 hours to leave the country. The specifics of their alleged activities were not disclosed. So Burkina Faso and France are having a strained relationship ever since the military junta took power in 2022, with, of course, the military junta not wanting France in Burkina Faso, not just the French army, but also the French people. So the expulsion may be related to meetings the diplomat had with the civil society members, and of course there has been a little unrest in Burkina Faso, and I guess the France might be trying to spark civic unrest in Burkina Faso, and that is why the junta is not taking anything lightly. So the 3 of them were given 48 hours to have left Burkina Faso. So Burkina Faso's junta is not joking around with anybody, and it is going for each and every person who looks like he's trying to take it back to where it was. And an example is, these are not the first people to be expelled from Burkina Faso, by the way. And the French Foreign Ministry is set to release a statement on the same. But what is clear is that Burkina Faso's junta does not want anything to do with France anymore. And this is a clear message to them. And it was a good move expelling the 3 French diplomats. And they cited that they had met with the civic groups, they had met with civic society members. And I guess my intuition tells me it looks like they were trying to create a civil unrest like the one seeing in Mali, where people have started asking why we are yet to have elections. So the Burkina Faso junta is not taking anything lightly, and that is why it is going to it took the step of expelling the 3 French diplomats. They were given 48 hours to leave the country. 48 hours have passed because this happened on the 18th. And Kid is with me. How are you doing, Kid?
I'm good. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm talking about Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso expelling French diplomats yet again.
Yeah, they got to get them out. Both of us spies. Whenever you start to change the country around, family, you got to shut down the Western embassies. The embassies full of spies. and you'll get all the white reporters out of there. You're going to sell out your country from white people. That's just a fact. And Africans don't want to understand that. If you're going to build a real African country, you got to get all the white people out of there. Because you don't know which one's the spy. And the majority of them are spies. It's not about no
So
human rights or none of
the
that shit. You got to
government,
go.
the government of Burkina Faso, the junta, as it was expelling them, said that they had met with some civic group.
I don't use no European word like junta. No,
That,
the elected, the representative of the African people.
mhm.
That's the word I use. Representative Ibrahim Traore, loved and admired by his people who put him in power, who keep him there. Not the junta. Those are European derogatory terms. Go ahead, Demore.
Yeah, so they said that they had received reports that the ones who were kicked out had been meeting with civil groups, and that was why I was,
Of course.
you know, if you've been watching what has been happening in Mali, so the military government in Mali had promised Malians that there was going to be a civil transition by March. So March came and passed, and there hasn't been any sign of civil transition. Now the people are fed up. It looks like the people either have been incited or are fed up. One of the two, because
That's not the
they're in
people.
the street.
That's not the people. CIA
Yeah,
always comes in. I don't give a fuck about the people being in the street. That's all made up.
mhm.
CIA, whenever you keep the white people in your country, you're stupid. They're gonna do what's called counter revolutions in your country, a color revolution. You put an end to all that. You scared of being called, oh, you're going to civil rights or racist. How you racist when your country's been controlled and parasited from white people? You got to get them out because they're going to cause, as me and Joby should, color revolutions in your country. That's a fact.
So
That's why it's there.
the fact is, I actually think there's a theory in media. It's called the magic bullet theory. That, you know, if you most of the people are naive, if I use the word for lack of a better word, and they'll believe everything that the media will tell them. They consume without
Exactly.
question. Yeah, so you might find that in Mali, all that the the West did was just a little incitement on the media, you know, asking them, this military government said it is going to hand
Of
over by
course.
March, hasn't handed over, they are never going to hand over, we need to go out as a
And
people.
that's
Now,
why you were supposed to kick out. That's why you're supposed to bend when you took power. You're supposed to shut down all Western media. Shut it down, all of it. You don't own none of it. I was taking over Kenya. All media in Kenya we shut down. I shut it all down because I don't own none of it. Shut it down because you're right. That's how they form propaganda and uprisings. Because you know your mass, you ain't taking over the country. You know your masses are ignorant. They were put that way on purpose, so you know that. You know you're gonna be sensible. That's what Ibrahim did. He shut down all media in the country. You got to. You got to do that. Like the more he said, you'll be easily manipulated.
yeah,
And you're supposed to know as a leader, you're dealing with a childlike people in the head. That's the first thing you do. You overthrow a country, first thing you do is go to the goddamn media. First thing you do, shut it down. So
I think they underestimate the power of the media, which the media is a
they
very,
ain't
very
estimated. It's about being stupid. Unless
very,
you're a
very
moron.
powerful tool.
Yes, it's very powerful.
If you ignore the power of the media, then it's unto you, because the media is actually the one responsible for even the public opinion of the people. You know, if the
That's
media
right.
starts saying that this president is not working, that's the narrative that people are gonna buy. If the Kenyan media is driving the narrative that Ruto is the best president to have ever existed, that is what the people are gonna believe. If it
Exactly.
drives the narrative that this government is not working, we need to go out in the streets and protest, that is what the people are gonna buy. So do not as African leaders, at any politicians, African people at any one point underestimate the power of the media. It is a very, very powerful tool.
Yeah, that's why they want to shut. That's why they shut it down on them. That's why we got it. That other channel shut down again because of me, because of propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Very powerful. That's why they want to shut down TikTok. It is very powerful. It controls the mind of who's ever watching it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a form of mind control. If they want to control the narrative, so you believe their lies. You're supposed to have been winning there and suspended all media that you didn't control. Right now, until you get the country back on its feet economically and is strong enough to
Mm-hmm.
have a free press, then you can open back up. That's going to take some years. And you got an uneducated populace, was dangerous. Your African populace, are stupid. He's being nice, called naive. No, they're morons on purpose. Because you had school fees. Instead of say, hey, as a country, it's your obligation to make sure everybody's well educated. Without no school fees.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what you want. You want your country can't prosper with an ignorant population. And you can't keep a republic nor a democracy with ignorant people. That's how you know Africa doesn't have a democracy. There's too much ignorance in the countries. So everybody happy. All you gotta do is get together. This control opposition. You come out as the leader. You get on regular media and social media. And you tell people, Molly, this is what's going on. Be honest with people so they understand it. Say, listen, we have Western forces who want to dominate and control us because they've been stealing our resources. That's the reason why we're in poverty. And now these people are willing agents of that power. So that's what we're seeing now. We're going to put an end to this, but we want you to know what's going on.
And if
That's
if,
what
if you if you
go ahead.
want to know if you want to know how powerful the media is, especially in driving narratives, I've told you this story before. So apparently, the former president Uhuru was found to have been involved in the Pandora Papers scandal. A lot of offshore accounts, and why, how he had hidden billions and billions in offshore accounts. And so that day, the media ran a story. The Kenyan media ran a story, and the story was titled "Benefits of Having an Offshore Account." That was what the media reported. So it gave Kenyans like 20 benefits on why you should open an offshore account. And then the normal citizens now believe that opening an offshore account is a genius thing to do. It's business. It's normal because that's what the media told them. So that is what happened. So the people would have been angry because the news hit, and the people were angry because how
Stupid. They're stupid. Okay, you got an offshore account.
yeah.
Using logic and reasoning. Who
Mm-hmm.
owns the account? Who owns the bank? And if I ever get on their bad side, can they close down my account? The answer is yes. 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 They never asked that question. Yeah, shout out to Jim Skitty. I just came up here from Maria and them show. Shout out to all 500 people on Twitter on the live with Maria and Seto.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to all 500 of you guys. Those lives, but was set to them. We had 2,000, 3,000 on live, 1,500. I left those 500 in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Questions asked, who controls the banks? Can they freeze my funds? Ask that question. Yeah, I can go to offshore account. Yay. Hey, Africans, how about you to complete thinking process and think it all the way through? Think it all the way through. Shit. Great.
And on what I was reporting yesterday, if you can remember, wow, and General Mosquito is telling me Israel has just launched airstrike against Iran right
Well, here
now.
we go. Here we go right now. That's what I was asking that. Yeah, and that's going to be the show then tonight. Forget that. Do the other show tomorrow about not going to war with these people. Well, I guess I incorporate it. Because they told you. I told you guys 2 years they want to walk us into World War III. They need this war because their economic system is collapsing. So the cats with the small hats who created Israel from nothing are the ones starting the war. Because these are the people that actually run the world. Not your fake Illuminati, not your Jesuits. These motherfuckers. You know why? Because they own the Bank of Kenya. They own the Bank of Nigeria. They own the United States Bank. They own the Bank of England, Bank of France, Bank of Norway. All the banks on the planet, they own them. And the system is collapsing. Starting from America first. It's in free fall. So they don't want to be blamed, and they don't want people coming at them. They want to be able to ride this collapse where they still on top. So they need this war. But I don't think nobody's going to go to it. You're not getting no Americans to go fight for no fucking Israel.
So Israel claimed that when Iran attacked them on Saturday, that
attack them. Attack
they
them.
say-
Hold on. Wait. I want you. Wait. Hold on, Tamari. I want you to read it. I was just saying the propaganda. That's how you know they own all the media. Say when Iran attacked Israel. Iran didn't attack Israel. They responded to being attacked, Demore, which is the act of war. Israel attacked them.
no, that is what the media is going to say now. It is going to say Israel
I
has
know.
responded
Of course.
to an attack by
Because,
Iran.
of course. Because they own the media, Demore. It's propaganda. If I punch you in the face, Demore, and you punch me back, that's not you attacking me. That's you
It is-
responding to my attack.
Unless you are JEW, that then I'll be the
That's
one.
right. That's right.
There is an exemption to that rule.
Exactly. It's the only extension in the whole world, Demore. Tell me, this is Demore. So we know it's a lot. So say what date did Israel attack the Iranian consulate in Syria? What date was that? Say what date did Israel attack the Iranian consulate in Syria? See, this was the attack that they killed all those Iranians. And Iran was responding finally to the attack. Let's get the.
Was it
Let's
in
get the.
April? Was it in April?
Yeah,
2nd April.
yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, 2nd of April. There you go. So that was the original attack, Demore. They attacked Iran. Iran didn't attack them, but in your paper, Israel was responding to Iran's attack. Because Iran got attacked first.
That is the media and propaganda, and we are gonna come back to that. Let us first look at. Let us first look at. We were looking at Burkina Faso expelling the 3 French diplomats, and apart from that, the Western poster boy was also he got a spot in the Times 100 most influential people in the world. You guessed who got a spot. I know you know who got a spot there.
Most 100?
Yeah, 100 most influential people in the world.
There'd be a bunch of people. I don't know who's a bunch. There's 100 people tomorrow.
William Ruto was there. He made to the Times.
Of course.
Yeah.
He won their puppets.
He's
That's
a
not
poster boy.
that's not damn surprising to me. And then you ask him, how's he one of the most influenceable people in the world when he has no world power? They know it's a lie, Demore. It's all propaganda. Ruto don't have no world power.
And apart from that, something else was happening in Kenya. So this is the second time this has happened. So you know, Johnson & Johnson is a pharmaceutical company that
Of course,
manufactures
out of America. Yeah.
it manufactures a lot of drugs.
Wicked and evil and shit.
Yeah, so Nigeria did an amazing thing for the first time. Shout out to Nigerians. So they took one of the cough syrups that Johnson & Johnson has been manufacturing and supplying to Africa. The reason they did this was because
Mhm.
we had more than 100 children dying in Gambia from effects from the cough syrup. So Nigeria took the cough syrup to the lab, and what they found was shocking. They found that the cough syrup had high levels of toxic substances in
Go to,
it.
go to, tomorrow, how about that? Tomorrow, you got colleges in Africa. Like, why was there scientists that would go in and look at the vaccines, look at everything white people bringing into you? It's not surprising, tomorrow. I already know shit was in there. It's no surprising that goofy Africans and they realize this is what's been going on. You were supposed to bend as an adult, tomorrow. People that colonize you are not there to help you. You're supposed to say, okay, anything you're bringing to us, we're going to have our scientists investigate what's in the shit. We're not going to take nothing blindly from you people.
So that was the first batch that was recalled. The first batch was recalled in Kenya, South Africa, and Nigeria. Apparently, they have found a second batch from the same company of another cough syrup. This one is called the Benylin Children's Cough Syrup. Still had the same. It had high levels of toxicity in it. And now Tanzania, Eswatini, Rwanda, South Africa, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe have all recalled the batch from it was from Johnson and Johnson, and this one was manufactured in South Africa,
Yeah.
but by Johnson and Johnson.
And
So it looks like Johnson and Johnson is on a mission in Africa.
let me tell you, tomorrow, this is not an accident, okay? They think you goofy niggas will have enough common sense to go and get your own scientists to look at shit, because you never do. This is not an accident. This is the norm. This is the norm.
But the damage has already been done because the recalled units, the recalled batches were imported in May 2021. We are in 2024. So a
Yeah.
lot of children have already used
Oh, there you go.
this.
Of course, but
This cough
that
syrup.
means
It has
that
been how
means
many years?
that means there's an
May
African.
2021. That's 3 years.
So what? It means as an African people, you're gonna have to grow up. You have to become adults tomorrow. Nobody gets a chance to be a child no more. When people bring in you drugs as common sense, you must have scientists. Well, you got colleges. That's why you're in college tomorrow to learn. So you have common sense. Say, okay, let me check any pharmaceutical coming in and out of Africa, like any place in the world, is supposed to have scientists check what's in it first tomorrow. You're supposed to then check the vaccines and all this shit coming to Africa to be given to African people.
And so they found the compound that they found that was impure in the cough syrup is called diethylene glycol. And so I decided to check out what is this diethylene glycol. And apparently,
I bet.
diethylene glycol is
Wait. I bet it's got something to do with destroying your sperm count too. I bet that.
it's actually
Good.
crazier because 1, it is sweet. 2, it is colorless. 3, it is odorless. So
Of course.
odorless. So they knew it wouldn't be discovered because it was colorless,
Of course.
odorless, and
That lets you know it wasn't an accident. This was
do you know
intentional.
do you know what it is used to manufacture in the commercial market?
I don't know what.
Brake fluid.
Yeah, so okay. So it's supposed to curb. That's supposed to destroy you. So what this is supposed to destroy your organs, man, to make you sick and die. But
So
this is not, like I said,
diethylene glycol, you can check this out. Industrially, diethylene glycol is an element that is used to manufacture brake fluid, and it is also used in the manufacture of cigarettes. So
yeah, so what do you think is there?
yeah, that is what they had put in children's cough syrup.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on purpose. But it's odorless, colorless,
Sweet tasting.
smellless. Right.
It's sweet tasting too.
That's right. And you know that is called genocide. That's what that's called. It's called genocide, Demore.
And it was successful because in Gambia, more than 100 kids died in Gambia from
Of course. They'll
yeah.
keep on exactly. But they kept doing it. You goofy dumb niggas. You're not
Gambia,
adult. You're not adult enough to check your own shit.
Gambia took a step, and it arrested some of the people and took them to they were arraigned in court earlier this week, but the company said that it wasn't responsible for any death. It wasn't responsible for the
Yeah,
glycol
yeah,
that was
yeah,
inside.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, it said
Because
it wasn't
yeah, yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah. As an adult, as a country's adult, you were supposed to check what Kenya did and what Nigeria did. You were supposed to check this shit before you introduced it commercially to your people. How about that? But you puppets don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
You allow these people to treat Africans like guinea pigs. And this ain't no guinea pig shit. They knew what it was going to do. That's why it's in there.
So the
That's why it's
company
in
in
there.
Gambia had been taken to court for three things. One, for the deaths of about 70 children died in Gambia from the cough syrup. That was one. The second was bribery. They bribed the company that was given the task to test it. So
Of course. Of course.
they were taken for murder, bribery, and for interfering, tampering with the investigation into the drug. And they denied all the three and said they had nothing to do with it, and it's not up to them. They were not aware of the presence of the substance.
How about as a test?
Mhm. Your
You
network has
culpable.
started breaking, but go ahead.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Go ahead. No. You're culpable.
Hmm.
You can't say because you didn't know. You're supposed to know. That's why you're the government. You're culpable. That's just some shit like that. You know, I didn't know. It's
So
your job to know.
the fact is, Keith, if Nigeria had not taken this cough syrup from Johnson and Johnson to a lab,
They would
then
still did it. It would have been in
children in
Kenya,
Kenya, children in
Tanzania.
Tanzania would still be drinking,
Yeah.
would still be
Yeah.
taking cough syrup that has diethylene glycol. And diethylene glycol family, if you just join me, is a substance that is used in manufacture of brake fluid. That was what they put in the cough syrup. Now,
And the funny thing about this, none of these bootlicking handkerchief countries are going to go after Johnson and Johnson. None of them. None of them are going to go after Johnson and Johnson. None of them. None of them. This is a crime against humanity. That's what I'm
Do you know
talking
what
about this.
Do you know what
What?
they are going to say? They're going to say it is very the statement will read like this. It will probably be written by a chat GPT. It will read something like it is
Of
very
course,
unfortunate.
of course.
It's very unfortunate that those lives were lost.
All
Our hearts
right.
are with their families, and
Hearts
we have
of-
formed a commission
That's right.
to investigate into this.
To the
And
bottom of we're gonna get to the bottom of this. We're gonna get to the bottom of this, you morons. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I forgot that word. We are going to get to the bottom of this, and never again will
Yeah.
this be seen in Gambia, in Africa.
That should be right back in there. Because family, if you think it's just in your cough syrup in Africa, you better think again. You better think of all these products that come into Africa, what's in the shit. See, now it becomes a silent war on African people. Yes, yes, yes.
And there was another company that had wanted to, Moderna had wanted to set up a
Shop in Kenya.
manufacturing plant in Kenya, but
But nobody, they stopped, yeah, because nobody buying that shit. The Africans realize, hey, I'm not buying no fucking vaccines from these motherfuckers. that kind of manufacturer we don't need. I'm not buying none of that shit.
They say they're not buying anything that is not moonshine.
God
unless
damn, Demore.
unless
God damn, Demore.
Moderna starts manufacturing
God,
moonshine, they're not
God,
buying that.
God, God damn, Demore. Shit. That's worse than me. God damn.
So it is sad that 70 children were killed.
Kenyans, Kenyans, that was Demore. That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
And today, a big shout out to Nigeria. By the way, Nigeria are the ones who did the test. Not even South
Yes,
Africa. They're the one who established that the cough syrup was killing children. Not even Gambia, where 70 kids died.
sad. African people. Truly sad.
And and lastly, it was confirmed that, in fact, it was indeed true that 9 military officials died yesterday, including the chief of defense, and they died from the helicopter that crashed. Was a donation from the United States of America to Kenya, by
So
the way.
yeah, some old shit.
Yeah,
And sad
it was,
enough, don't be some old shit. I'm gonna keep it clear. Some old raggedy shit that they always give Africa. And no, and the Africans don't never service shit properly. You think I'm
yeah. So
flying in some goddamn helicopter from Kenya, and I know they don't do regular servicing like the rest of the world? Ah, it's
that was
okay.
what was on my mind. That was what I remembered you saying that. And when I had the crash, the first thing that I checked was what type of chopper was General Ogola using when it crashed, and it was a Bell helicopter. And I checked, when did Kenya purchase a Bell helicopter, and it was in 2016, when the United States of America donated 8 Bell helicopters to Kenya. So one of them is the one that crashed. And the choppers were valued at 11 billion. So you can tell how much the government was happy, because it was given a donation worth 11 a
And
donation of choppers worth
that won't
11
work.
billion.
Don't ever believe that shit, Demore. That was old, raggedy, outdated shit. With no $11 billion. America don't donate shit, Demore. That means they all have problems with those particular helicopters. And then to make them look good, they always donated to these goofy niggas. I'm
Mhm.
sure there was all like electrical problems,
I actually went ahead and checked.
problems,
When did the
all
US
kind of
when did
shit.
the US I checked when did the US military use the Hugh helicopters that it donated to Kenya, and I found out that the Hugh choppers were used by the US military in the Vietnam War in the 60s.
Be now. I'm about to say, be now.
Yeah,
50 years ago.
y- your network is also in the 60s, because I can't hear you.
I
Your network
mean,
is
I know, messing up.
uh-huh,
Damn. Demore. You hear me now?
uh-huh.
You can hear. That,
Yeah, I
those
can hear you.
helicopters, Demore, was supposed to be, those helicopters were supposed to be broken up for scrap metal, man. Not flown ever again. Each,
No,
each,
that's
each,
the one that they use. What
each,
do you mean? That's the one that carries
aircraft.
the chief of defense.
Yeah, good luck with that. Demore, you know anything about flying? As a military, any aircraft only has a certain amount of flights until you got to retire it completely. You can't fly no more. You got to break it down into parts. That
But
shit
but
shouldn't have been flown at all.
but why break it down when you can donate it to Kenya? Why?
And, you see, exactly right,
Why
Jamari.
go through the
That's a
hassle?
PR move. That's a PR move. Look at us donating plane aircrafts to these poor dumb niggas. Look at us. We're so meritorious. Look at us helping the dumb niggas. Now you're a dummy for getting in that shit. I'm
Mhm.
getting some shit. You think I'm getting some shit from Vietnam? You crazy?
And the other day, when Iran responded to Israel's attack, one of the first
Yeah.
person to come out and call out Iran and say that, one of the first person to come out and condemn Iran was Ruto. and I decided to
Well,
click on why would Ruto condemn Iran for attacking
because
Israel?
he's a
So
puppet. He's a puppet. Ask yourself, why was he up there when he got elected in Israel with that tiny hat on? Show that. Do
it's
this. Do this.
actually
Do this.
actually
For a second, baby. Do this before we leave tomorrow. Talk,
uh-huh.
but show this. Go to YouTube. Say President Ruto visit the Israeli wall, and he got the little smoke. You got to go do that tomorrow to give allegiance. That's what he was doing.
And the other
That
reason, kid, is so the Kenya Air Force. I'm checking on that. The Kenya Air Force fighter jets uses the F-15. The F-15 are the fighter jets that the Kenya Air Force uses. And of the 8 F-15 that the Kenya Air Force uses, most of them were donated to Kenya by Israel. So why would
yeah.
Kenya not support Israel when we use their planes, we use their
Well,
jets?
it's actually not the jets. Those jets came from America, given to
The
Israel. So
Mhm,
yes, they came from America. So
mhm.
Israel knows they're outdated. They're not to be flown. Like, what am I saying, Demore? You got no real military in Africa. That's what I mean. You got old, outdated shit. You can't fight no F-15, that old shit, against the real military. You get blown out the sky.
Come on, we have the F-15, kid.
Yeah.
Israel actually donated 8 recently. It recently donated 8 to
Yeah,
Kenya, and that is why, yeah.
the F-15, I think, came out in the 1970s. Look at this. Tell me, what year was the F-15 commission? 1972, 75. Now you're flying around on 50-year-old helicopters and 40-year-old planes.
1974.
I told you it's 1970 something. That's like the SRG train, Demore. That takes you 6 hours when you're supposed to have a train that takes you 45 minutes.
So
You
that was
can't.
what
You.
Israel donated to us, and that is why we have to support Israel. If
That's
Israel
why you
attacked,
donate.
if Israel
That.
attacked Kenya, we
Yeah.
would condemn Kenya for
Yeah.
that. And that's
Exactly. What the
we
hell
don't
wrong
want
with you,
to get
Kenyan?
attacked by Israel.
Well, you couldn't fight nobody in them old ass planes.
And the warning signs were there with the Bell, with the Who helicopters. We have had about 4 of them fall off the sky this year. Only that the others are not fatal. They fell off the sky before they had. We had the
Yeah,
other one carrying, even the
exactly.
Minister of
Because,
Defense himself. The Minister of Defense was in a crash earlier this year. Only that
okay,
it
so
crashed
tell
before
me,
it went up.
so you respect the military
Mhm.
that will not build actually real, will use old junk shit instead of building a real military. I don't respect that. You can't be a military flying around in 55-year-old, 60-year-old helicopters, Demore, and 40-year-old. Well, no, that's 50 years ago, 1974 and 2020. That's 50 years ago too. You can't fly around in no 50-year-old plane.
So this was a few months ago, a few weeks ago. This was the cabinet, the CS of defense. He survived this. It was the same made of helicopters, but he was lucky that it crashed when it was just a few meters off the ground. So yesterday, it was the same
They was
military.
like,
It was a military helicopter. He was just lucky that it crashed once it took off. Yesterday, the ones who crashed yesterday were not lucky. It had gone very many meters up the ground, but one person survived. One person jumped off. There was one who survived. He jumped out.
man, look at that new aircraft. They're only half a century old. Half a century? Yeah, it's only 50 years old.
But they were
Damn, nigga.
donations. They were donations, so we really don't care because they are donations. And I wonder, even if it's a donation, for fuck's sake, maintain it. Do some service on it.
You can't maintain that, Demore. I told you. When they give it to at a certain amount of time, Demore, they can't be maintained no more. That's why they falling out the sky. Because at a certain, that's why they donate to Kenya, Demore.
Uh-huh.
At a certain amount of time, any kind of aircraft, Amori, it can't be serviced after so many years. It can't be. So that's what they say, hey, give it to the niggas now. The niggas can have it. Give it to the niggas. Ooh, I'm in an F-14, yeah! Moron, it's 50 years old. It's
And
50-year-old technology.
talking about planes and the 50-year-old technology. I just found out this the other day and it made me so mad. So in Kenya there was an attack many years ago. If you can remember, I don't know if you heard about it, but at least 150 something university students were killed in an attack that happened in Garissa. Al Shabaab attacked a university and killed so many students. So it later came out that they had known about the intelligence, even though Shiti had known about the attack. They had gotten wind that Al Shabaab was going to attack Garissa University. So Garissa is about 200 and something kilometers from Nairobi. So the department that is supposed to deal with counter-terrorism is called the Reke Squad, and it was the one that was supposed to be dispatched to Garissa University to stop the attack, which the intelligence had learned about.
Why they doing it?
Come again?
If they knew about it, why didn't they do anything about it?
So this is what happened. So the Reke Squad has its headquarters in Nairobi. So they were supposed to be they were supposed to take a chopper from Nairobi to Garissa. And they had one chopper, one police helicopter. So what happened was one police chief had taken the chopper and had used it to fly his children to a vacation in Mombasa. And so there was not any available.
Only in Africa. Only Africa we can hear some crazy shit like this.
They actually posted a picture on the beach with the plane.
Oh my God.
So now Reke Squad, despite knowing that there was going to be an attack in Garissa University, had to travel by road. It takes about 6 hours by road to get to Garissa. So by the time they go to Garissa, 150 plus students had been killed.
Wow, this is like crazy town.
Yeah.
This is like crazy town. This is absolutely crazy.
So let me share the picture that they posted a picture. The police chief's children even posted a picture with the plane with the helicopter on the beach, because they had been taken to vacation with a police helicopter. Here is the image.
Oh my God.
And this is the Kenya police helicopter
That's
that
it.
was supposed to go. It was a Cessna 208 aircraft that was supposed to fly the police commandos to Garissa, but now they had to go by road. By the time they got there, the attack was done. The people were dead, and all they did was
Can you imagine how mismanaged Kenya is? You're supposed to have more than one helicopter, morons. He was wrong for doing it. He's supposed to be fired and put in jail because what he did was criminal.
Oh,
he's supposed to be in jail.
He's right now. He's a top. I think he's the chairman of some parastatal in Kenya. He's managing director of a parastatal.
You wonder why? It's absolutely crazy.
So he was actually flying. He flew his daughter and daughter-in-law to be. One of the girls was to be his daughter-in-law. So it was his daughter and his son's girlfriend.
Can't make this. I don't got no words. I'm actually speechless for that kind of craziness.
Yep.
In China, you get a bullet in the head. You getting a bullet in the head through that China. They're gonna put a bullet in your head and throw you in a ditch. And you only got one helicopter to do search and rescue like that.
Yeah, that was the one that was assigned to the Reke Squad. They only had one helicopter, and Reke Squad is the one that is in charge of
only one.
Yep.
All the money getting stolen out of Kenya, Jack. Old helicopters, old ass planes that they getting donated.
in as much as it is an old helicopter, I wish it had been in Nairobi
I do
because
too.
yeah,
I do
this
too.
was
They
the
still would have
attack.
got him
This
up
was the
there.
attack. It happened in 20 a few years ago, and it saw 150 university students killed,
Wow,
150
that's it.
students
So
died
did
in
it
this.
get when they got there? Did they get the Al Shabaab when they got out there? At least
Nah,
get the guys.
they had left. It had been hours. Nairobi to
I don't
Garissa
give
by
a I
road
don't give
takes
a damn
around.
if they left, Demore. They got trials. If you Demore, I've been in any military group. You can't get away from me. If you kill people, you left the trail of where you're gone. It's my
Mhm.
job now to follow. I fucked up. I didn't get the kids there safely. My job is now to track you down and wipe you out.
I don't
That's
know.
the job.
I don't know if they did. I don't know if they were arrested. I'll have to confirm that. But 150 students were killed on that day in Garissa just because, even though the intelligence, all the intelligence has to do. And then um, there was the Kenya Defense Forces, the KDF have a military camp near there, but they wouldn't go in because, of course, of the jurisdiction. They wouldn't go in because they are not in charge of. This was the Westgate attack that happened in Kenya, and during this attack, the KDF went in, the Kenya Defense Forces went in. The picture on your screen, this was an attack that happened in Nairobi in 2013. So the Kenya Defense Forces went in, the Recce Squad went in, the police went in, and they ended up killing each other. 2 Recce Squads were killed by the KDF.
What?
Yeah, so that is why they couldn't go in, because now
Oh my God.
after that incident, there has to be a lot of communications before a unit can go in, because on that day there was miscommunication. The unit that went in found another unit in, and the Al Shabaab were in there, and so they were just shooting at whoever was shooting, and they ended up killing each other. Yep.
You can't make this up. You talk about Nigeria. This is a country. Kenya's a whole country. This is like a bunch of goddamn retarded people run the country. This is what the European be talking about. That the African man can't run no country. But Demore just told me he's absolutely fucking insane. Everybody who's in charge of that going that mall supposed to be goddamn in prison.
Oh, I told you he's the chairman of a certain parastatal right now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why he's
everybody become the chairman. Africa's the only place you fail upward. You don't get dismissed, you fail upward. You fail and you get promoted.
Mhm.
Keep failing, you get promoted. Because it's based on tribalism and graft. Tribalism and graft. Why shit don't work right. So,
And
yeah,
Joby tells me my time is up. She's coming up
yeah.
in a bit.
All right.
Of course, I'm sure she has a lot
That's
like.
disturbing. So, like what I told you, like I told you, Kenya has no real military. Don't take your ass to Haiti. You don't got a real military. You don't got one. You don't. You like all African countries. There's no real military. You got 50-year-old,
But I
trained
told you,
60-year-old.
I really respect the men on the ground who do not
Good
understand
for
the system.
you.
They don't understand the
Good for
systems as
you.
much as you do. They are just they think it's patriotic fighting for Kenya. And I'm gonna tell you a story
I think
on
I,
Monday
I
on
do.
how
I think this is good. All right.
I'm gonna tell you a story on Monday on how when they went
All
in
right.
Somalia for the first time, they were at one point. It's called the Battle of Helsinga. You can check it out. So there was one time when they were outnumbered, so they didn't know they were going to get attacked. So there were like 30 KDF
You
personnel
mean you mean to
were
tell me
attacked.
you didn't know going to somebody else's country you would get attacked? You didn't know that?
No, no, they had already taken that area. They had secured that area already.
Okay, but
So they
you
were
you,
attacked.
you, thought, you, thought you
They
think
were
he gonna
attacked.
allow you to keep
So
keep
they were
the
30 of
chariot?
them. They were 30 of them,
Good.
and they were attacked by 400 Al Shabaab. 30
Yeah.
against 400,
But why would
and
you think you're gonna keep somebody else's territory? Because you
they fought for
secured the area.
11. They fought for 11 hours.
They probably all got wiped out.
It's called the Battle of
They
Helsinki. I'm
survived.
gonna tell you about that story on Monday. No, they never died. They made it. They
Survived.
made it alive.
Okay.
Yep. So the men on the ground who maybe do not understand the systems and
Cause I know,
things, they just
cause I know,
just
if they were
he
there.
just
I
got a
know,
job. He just got
if
a
they was up
job
there
and
tomorrow.
he's just gonna feed his
I
family.
know, if they was up there. They couldn't be waiting for no helicopters to come help them.
So that is all I had today. Family, make sure to join
Much
Joe in a bit.
much
Catch
love,
me
family.
tomorrow on the Diary of a Young Black King from 12 p.m. From 12:30 to 2:30. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. It's always a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen.
In American time, that's 4 o'clock in the morning. Damn it.